let's give him a chance. Let's give him a chance with the play calling. You know you have an offensive line that isn't playing that well. So what do? Why not just play the short game so he can get the ball out of his hands very fast to run a competent goddamn offense? Outside of that, Shedeur has to be better in understanding that the offensive line that you're working with right now is not adequate. Why not allow the players that are competing for a job, in this instance, Shedeur Sanders, to finish off the 2 minutes?
Tom Brady just shook the whole NFL when he basically accused the Cleveland Browns of straight up sabotaging Shedeur Sanders' career. Yeah, you heard that right. Brady, the GOAT himself, hinted that Cleveland might be wrecking their own quarterback on purpose. He said it plain and simple. Some teams don't fail to develop QBs, they set them up to fall apart. And when he said that, fans instantly knew who he meant. The moment those words left his mouth, every spotlight turned toward Cleveland. Because if Brady's right, then Shedeur never even had a fair shot. They threw him into a mess, gave him zero support, and then blamed him when everything collapsed. That's wild. Now the internet's going crazy asking one question. Did the Browns really sabotage their own future and think nobody would catch on? It all started quiet, just another chill segment on The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Brady was supposed to be talking about quarterback development. Nothing spicy, nothing wild. But then out of nowhere, he dropped the bomb that sent every sports feed into meltdown. There's a lot of people who have no idea what they're doing when they're tasked with coaching a quarterback. Boom, that was it. One sentence and the whole league started connecting the dots. All eyes went straight to Cleveland and their handling of Shedeur Sanders and the rookie everyone says just needs more time. Brady didn't drop names, but he didn't have to. When you start talking about coaches ranked bottom last in quarterback development, about rookies getting no real mentoring, and teams pretending to develop while actually tearing talent down from the inside, come on, that's a direct shot. Cleveland's getting called out, and this time it's by the one man no one dares argue with, Tom Brady himself. To most people watching, it just sounded like Tom Brady venting about the league, but for anyone who's been paying attention to the Browns, it hit way too close to home. This wasn't random. It was personal, because that's exactly what's been happening in Cleveland. Chaos in the coaching staff, mixed messages flying around, and a young quarterback being treated like a burden instead of a blueprint for the future. The reaction online? Instant explosion. Clips of that interview flooded every feed. Fans and analysts on X, formerly Twitter, started lining up Brady's quote right next to footage of Shedeur sitting frustrated on the sidelines during drills. By sundown, Brady exposes the Browns was trending across the entire NFL world. This wasn't just a casual take, it was a direct warning shot from the GOAT himself. Brady said out loud what players have been whispering behind closed doors for years. The league doesn't have a player development problem. It's got a full-blown coaching crisis. Cleveland especially has turned quarterback chaos into an annual tradition. New coaches, new systems, new promises, but the same meltdown every single season. It's like they smash the reset button every offseason and call it progress. And behind the scenes, it's even uglier. Players say meetings are filled with confusion, playbooks get rewritten every week, and nobody knows who's actually in charge. One coach says, "We're building," while another says, "We're evaluating." Translation? They're lost. Nobody's on the same page, and Shedeur Sanders is the one paying the price for it all.
The local Cleveland media keep going relentless on Shedeur. He entitled, distracted, developing slow, can't learn the playbook. Not getting practice reps with the scout team, not getting practice reps at all. But what if I told you? Then none of that got to do nothing with football. This goes deeper than people realize. If y'all ain't seen it, Tom Brady came out on Colin Cowherd. Now this is pertaining to the Browns saying they developing quarterback.
Then came the moment that made fans' jaws drop. Team owner Jimmy Haslam admitted he didn't even know Shedeur had been signed. Let that sink in. The man running the whole franchise had no idea who his own rookie quarterback was. That's not just sloppy. That's straight up negligence. The Browns keep selling fans the dream of developing the next great quarterback. But how can you build greatness when the people in charge don't even know who's in the building? This isn't a rebuild, it's chaos wearing a headset. And now, thanks to Tom Brady, that chaos is finally getting the spotlight it deserves. For years, fans brushed it off as growing pains, but Brady's words ripped the curtain wide open. This is where the theory ends and the truth begins. When you really look at how Cleveland's handled Shedeur Sanders, it's hard not to see something shady. The man barely gets first-team reps, they throw him into third-unit drills like he's a backup, and then, out of nowhere, they toss him into live action and tell him, Go prove yourself. What kind of setup is that? No rhythm, no chemistry, no real preparation. That's not development, that's sabotage wearing a disguise of opportunity. Even veteran analysts are calling it out. They've said it straight. You don't build a quarterback by keeping him away from the starters and then blaming him when everything falls apart. And yet that's exactly what Cleveland keeps doing. Meanwhile, the media is twisting the whole story, saying Shedeur's not ready, he's distracted, he's struggling to adapt. But how could he not struggle when the system itself is broken? It's like asking someone to fly a plane after ripping the wings off and then blaming them for crashing. Brady saw it immediately. He recognized the same chaos he managed to avoid early in his own career. The difference? Brady had real coaches, people who valued structure, consistency, and growth. Shedeur's surrounded by people who talk about development but don't actually do it. And that's exactly why Brady's comments hit so deep. He wasn't throwing shade at the league in general, he was describing this exact situation. The moment Brady's words hit the air, the sports world exploded. Clips went viral in minutes. Brown sabotage shot to the top of NFL Twitter, and Cleveland's local media scrambled to play defense, but it backfired instantly. The internet had already made up its mind. The Browns are looking more guilty by the hour. Instead of actually breaking down Brady's point, the media flipped the script. They went straight at Shedeur, calling him entitled, unfocused, and not ready for the pros. Classic deflection. Blame the player, protect the system. But this time, fans weren't falling for it. They'd seen enough. Every clip, every quote, every little side comment from the Browns staff started looking shady. Why was Shedeur being kept out of first-team reps? Why was he doing interviews if the team said he wasn't part of their plan? And why did the owner sound like he barely even knew who the kid was? Something wasn't adding up. And people noticed. Then Stephen A. Smith jumped in, and that's when the whole thing exploded. He didn't just back Brady up, he doubled down and called it what it was, entrapment. Stephen A. said the Browns didn't give Shedeur a fair shot. They gave him a setup built to make him fail. That's heavy. And when ESPN veteran Louis Riddick stepped in with cold, hard data to prove it, showing Shedeur's lack of reps and the total mess in Cleveland's coaching structure, it stopped being just gossip. It became evidence.
Everybody knows how to develop a quarterback. You're assuming that you're going into a program. I mean, I'm telling you, this is not, there's a lot of people who have no idea what they're doing when they're tasked with coaching a quarterback or calling an offense. So are you saying, I mean, just like we'd rank quarterbacks 1 to 32, do you rank offensive coordinators 1 to 32? Do you rank quarterback coaches 1 to 32? Well, what if you had the 32nd ranked coordinator in someone's mind with the 32nd ranked quarterback coach? How is he getting a level of development that the guy who's first is getting?
For the first time, people weren't calling the Browns unlucky. They were calling them responsible. The pattern was too obvious to ignore. Year after year, new quarterbacks come in full of promise and leave broken. At some point, you gotta admit the problem isn't the players, it's the system that keeps chewing them up and spitting them out. And that's exactly what Brady wanted everyone to see. The ugly truth no one in the NFL wants to admit. Players get ranked, graded, and cut in front of the whole world. But coaches? They get excuses. Brady nailed it when he said, everyone ranks quarterbacks 1 to 32. But what if your coach is ranked 32nd? That line hit like a punch to the gut because he's right. Development isn't magic. It's structure, repetition, and leadership. And if your offensive coordinator or quarterback coach doesn't know what they're doing, your career can disappear before it even starts. That's not bad luck. That's failure at the top, and the whole world's finally seeing it. But here's the real kicker. Nobody ever measures them. When a quarterback misses a read, it's breaking news. When a coach calls the wrong scheme, it's brushed off as part of the process. That's the double standard Tom Brady just blew wide open, and it's exactly what's been rotting inside Cleveland for years. The Browns have been spinning through offensive coordinators like a busted carousel. And every single season, another young quarterback gets fed to the wolves as the scapegoat. The pattern never changes because accountability never climbs the ladder. Brady's message hit like a thunderclap. Simple, sharp, and devastating. You can't expect elite results from average coaching. You can't blame a quarterback who was never actually taught how to succeed. And that's why Shedeur's situation hurts so much. This isn't about his talent. It's about a system designed to fail him while pretending to develop him. Then came the quote that turned this whole mess from bad optics into a full-blown scandal. Browns owner Jimmy Haslam casually admitted he didn't even know about Shedeur Sanders signing. Not forgot, not misspoke. He flat out said it wasn't his decision, that the coaching staff handled it. Let that sink in. The man running a billion-dollar franchise with millions invested in the quarterback position had no idea his team just brought in one of the most hyped prospects in the country. That's not leadership. That's chaos wearing a designer suit. And suddenly, Brady's entire point made perfect sense. If the guy at the top doesn't even know what's going on, how could anyone below him possibly develop a quarterback the right way? It's dysfunction from top to bottom. And now, thanks to Brady, the whole world sees it. It's like running a company where the CEO doesn't even know who just got hired. Complete madness. The Browns tried to smooth things over with their usual PR talk, trusting the process, shared responsibility, all that corporate fluff. But this time, it only made things worse. The timing was terrible. Coming right after Brady's comments, it didn't sound like confidence. It sounded like damage control. And fans caught it instantly. Suddenly, Haslam's quote wasn't just a mistake. It became proof that nobody in Cleveland is actually steering the ship. Brady didn't just expose a struggling team, he exposed a broken hierarchy. Because now it's clear this isn't just about one quarterback anymore.
Why is the third quarterback getting interviewed? He had nothing to do with the game. Okay, it's all for media clicks. And, he's a heck of a personality, but the personality can't come out till you do something on the field. And, it's a big week for Dylan Gabriel and a big week for the Browns. I mean, making that transition for him even be available to the press. I don't know why he's doing it.
You tell me. You know how that works. Is that the front office? Is that the comms team? Like, who's putting him out? So we're saying it's not really on him. We have to protect him. He's a young player.
Yep.
Why are we making him available?
Exactly. To me, I mean, there's no sense to have him available.
It's about a whole franchise pretending they've got a plan when really they've been winging it for years. Once Brady spoke, it felt like the court of public opinion opened up, and Cleveland was officially on trial. Twitter, Reddit, ESPN, everyone turned into detectives overnight. People started breaking down every tiny detail. Clips of practice, sideline shots, even Shedeur's body language. Frame by frame, fans were dissecting every move the Browns made, and suddenly everything looked suspicious. Why was Shedeur rarely seen taking first-team reps? Why was a third-string quarterback doing interviews after a loss when the supposed starter was left out? None of it made sense, unless you believed Brady's theory that this was all part of a setup. That's when the entire narrative flipped on its head. Before, everyone was saying, Shedeur's not ready. Now, it became, wait, are the Browns setting him up? The internet connected the dots faster than the team could issue their weak statements. Conspiracy threads started popping up everywhere. And then they turned into trending topics. Even players from other teams started liking posts that called out the Browns' fake development act. That's when it officially blew up beyond Cleveland. This wasn't just a local drama anymore. It became a national headline, because when the GOAT himself hints something smells off, fans are going to start sniffing around, and the deeper they dug, the uglier it got. Shedeur wasn't just underperforming, he was isolated, cut off from top reps, given zero consistency, and then blamed for all the chaos that followed. In today's social media era, that's all it takes. One quote from Tom Brady, and suddenly a rookie's rough start turns into a full-blown public trial. But this time, it wasn't the player on trial, it was the franchise. And here's what makes it sting even more. Tom Brady was Shedeur Sanders once, a late-round pick, overlooked, doubted, barely getting any reps. He sat quietly, learned, and waited while the whole football world ignored him. The only difference? Brady had coaches who believed in development. Bill Belichick and Dick Rabine didn't just evaluate Brady, they built him. They gave him structure, patience, and accountability. 3 things every young quarterback needs to survive. When Brady's quarterback coach tragically passed away during training camp, Belichick didn't just send condolences. He personally stepped in to fill that role. That's how seriously New England took development back then. That's how you turn potential into greatness. Now look at Cleveland. Shedeur's sitting in the same position Brady once was, except his coaches seem more focused on politics than progress.
But I'm going to answer this question by saying Shedeur Sanders. And I'm going to tell you why. I think he's being set up to fail. That's right, I'm going to say it.
Okay.
Here we are on national television, right? There's been 11 practices, if I remember correctly. He's been starting against he's been playing against the third unit. He's 4th on the depth chart. And then suddenly you throw him into the start lineup and he hasn't had any reps with the first team at all. Think about that. So you're just going to throw him to the wolves like that, huh? I mean, if he had first team snaps in practice. I don't say that.
There's no mentorship, no leadership, no real direction. Just hollow phrases like competition and evaluation, the kind of words teams use when they don't actually have a plan. That's the cruel irony Brady sees so clearly. He knows how fragile a young quarterback's early years can be, how one bad situation can ruin everything before it even starts. He lived it, and he survived it only because someone cared enough to teach him the right way. But Shedeur, he's stuck in a system that talks about development while doing everything to destroy it. If Brady hadn't been built the right way, he'd have been another forgotten name, just like Cleveland keeps creating year after year. Maybe the world never would have even seen the GOAT, and that's exactly why Tom Brady's speaking up now. He's not just defending one rookie, he's standing up for an entire generation of young quarterbacks fighting to survive in a broken system. Because deep down, Brady knows that feeling, being underestimated, overlooked, and almost forgotten before your career ever truly begins. And he knows how fast a franchise can bury your future under evaluation talk and bad leadership. Sure, his comments hit Cleveland hardest, but the echo traveled way beyond Ohio, because what Brady exposed isn't just a Browns problem, it's an NFL problem. Every single year, the league drafts bright new quarterbacks bursting with potential, and every single year, half of them disappear before we even get to see what they could have been. Why? Because the system's broken, plain and simple. Teams love to preach development, but behind closed doors, it's pure chaos. New playbooks every season, egos running the locker rooms, no patience, no consistency. Brady just said out loud what players have been whispering for years. Coaching has become the league's biggest blind spot. Quarterbacks get benched after one bad drive, while coaches survive years of mediocrity. It's a cycle built on excuses instead of accountability, and the players are the ones paying the price. And now Shedeur Sanders might be the newest victim caught in that same loop. He walked into a franchise that sells growth but delivers confusion. They talk about development, but the moment things fall apart, the blame always lands on the player, never the plan. That's why Brady's message hit so deep. He wasn't ranting. He was warning. If the NFL keeps protecting coaches instead of actually developing players, it's going to keep losing its future stars before they even have a chance to shine. And when that happens, the league won't just lose games, it'll lose the greatness it was built on. Maybe it's time to stop rebuilding quarterbacks and start rebuilding coaches. Because in a league obsessed with talent, the real problem isn't who's under center, it's who's holding the clipboard. That's the truth Brady dropped like a bomb. The question now isn't if Tom Brady was right, it's how long the NFL can keep pretending he's not. When the greatest quarterback of all time says the system is broken, you don't brush that off. You listen. Cleveland can spin, deny, and deflect all they want, but the damage is already done. The entire league just got a front row seat to how fragile development really is, and how fast it turns into sabotage when the people in charge stop holding themselves accountable. What's happening in Cleveland isn't just a bad stretch. It's a warning to every team that keeps hiding behind process while their players drown in confusion. Shedeur Sanders never asked to be the center of controversy. He just wanted a fair shot. And maybe, just maybe, that's what Brady's trying to give him, not through coaching, but through truth. Because when a legend like Tom Brady calls out the system, he's not protecting one rookie. He's trying to save the next generation before it's too late. So here's the real question that everyone's asking now. If the GOAT can spot sabotage from the outside, how many young quarterbacks are being set up from within? Because this isn't just about Shedeur or Cleveland anymore. It's about an entire league built on talent, but sinking in denial. Now we want to hear from you. Do you think Tom Brady exposed the truth about the NFL's broken system? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, share this with your friends, and make sure you subscribe, because this story is far from over, and you won't want to miss what's coming next.